We're going to be talking about the conference championships, the AFC and the NFC. So it's look, I'm almost there with my bet. That's all. The bets I had the two bets before the year: Baltimore to beat Philadelphia, Baltimore to beat San Francisco in the Super Bowl. That was it. And we're one leg away from 45-1. I guess I made the other bet, which was 55-1, and I made that one for a little bit more. But one leg away from that, and I am terrified that the best team in football is not going to win. So, Sheets, what do you think overall about this? What do you think about the games? I'm sort of doing a Sheets right now. That's the way you usually say it.
Yeah, I mean, I like both of the favorites against the spread. One thing about San Francisco, like for example, I do find that it is important for a team to have to get away with something. You know what I mean? And to fight a little adversity, especially as you get down near the end, and then get a little lucky. You know, you don't play your best game, you still emerge. I think that helps them. And listen, much respect for Detroit. I've been, much respect for the coach and everything they've done from building the program from 0 wins or whatever, like all the way up. But listen, it's tough to play the best team on the road. You know what I mean? Especially you've been playing at home like every seems like every week for a while. It's a tough spot. So I happen to like San Francisco here. From a DFS perspective, the game is freaking goldmine. You know what I mean? Because it has got everything you want. You know, you have run backs. You have, you know what I mean? Like it's the whole thing. The Kansas City Baltimore game, I think actually could be a little uglier than than this. And unfortunately, I think that's what most people are going to think. So I do think that later game is going to get the majority of the ownership. And if you want to be different, you probably want to do more with the Baltimore-Kansas City game, because it's the same thing with Baltimore-Kansas City in that both of these teams, what they have in common, to some degree, is that we know the quarterback's good. We don't exactly know always where he's going to throw the ball. Although when you get into the playoffs, it's obviously Kelsey season, for Mahomes. And I think it's pretty safe to say that Rashid Rice is. I thought I was going to say that it's pretty safe to say that Rashid Rice is taking on that another role, but all of a sudden, man, these Chiefs, how do they have it in them that even after all that stuff about how bad MVS is, they just keep going to him, man. He finally delivers. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing.
I'll tell you what the Chiefs think. They don't care what anybody says. Right. All they hear every year is all of this nonsense. And when they traded Tyreek, they heard all of this stuff and all these things. What do they do if they trade Tyreek? They go out and they win the Super Bowl. Like, this is the best quarterback, in my opinion, in the history of football. I know it sounds crazy to say, but okay, so he's the highest trajectory of anybody in the history of football. He's about to win. Well, he could win his third title this year, and he's played 5 years. Like, give me a break, with this guy. Right. I am horrified by this first game because like you know this about me. I've been on the Ravens all year. The Ravens were I think they were the 12th favorite to win the Super Bowl. They were nowhere near one of the teams anybody thought could win the Super Bowl this year. They weren't even mentioned. On top of that, they lost 3 running backs. They lost their starting tight end, although he's supposed to be coming back for this game. They literally, and it doesn't even matter. If you watch them play, they look faster, bigger, and stronger than everybody else does. The only problem is if you told me I would never bet on a game that Patrick Mahomes was the 3.5-point underdog on the road, just never going to bet against Mahomes in that situation. Ever going to happen.
You wouldn't get him a 3.5-point underdog at home.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, actually, I don't know, man. It's pretty, yeah, you're right. But anyway, I couldn't make a betting thing on this one. I'm probably going to have to just take the Ravens outright, but they're minus 200. The Chiefs are plus 168. I mean, it feels like all the odds are reversed this year. And now everybody's expecting the Baltimore title. And that's what I predicted. So I guess I should be happy. But, man, it does scare me a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So from the DFS perspective, let's talk about the first game. This game is going to have probably a little bit more weather than the other game. We got a little bit of rain. It's going to be possibly a little bit windy, but nothing that looks too crazy to me. What do you like from the first game DFS wise?
Right. So Pacheco from Kansas City, Rashid Rice from Kansas City, McCall Hardman is 3K. And so obviously he's involved. They almost, gave him the end around, which almost cost him the game. Like I said, but Kansas City don't care. They'll roll him right back out there. And then obviously Kelsey. I'm seeing Justin Watson at 3K. I'm just thinking of guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I think you can, as usual, Kansas City's got something drawn up for everybody, and I think you could play some of those cheapos if you want. Kelsey's obviously going to be a really, really good play, but I think, listen, who knows? Maybe Watson is the man this week. I'm not sure, but Pacheco for sure is going to be. Listen, Kansas City, they do like to run the ball if they can. I don't know if they're going to be able to, but I think they're going to try. So but then there's McCaffrey, a running back. I mean, it's going to be tough, man. I don't know. So let's start with Rice, Kelsey, and then I suppose sprinkle in some of the other wide receivers.
Yeah, I like Pacheco actually. I just think he's without McKinnon, that he gets the passing work as well. So I'm good with Pacheco. Kelsey, I was close last week, right? My bold prediction on our early show was that he was going to be the highest scoring player of any kind on the slate. He was pretty close. He didn't quite make Lamar, but it was pretty close.
Right. Yeah.
I do like Kelsey. I think Noah Gray is a good tournament play, but then I look and he's going to be owned too. If I had to pick one of these receivers, and the thing is, I always say, will they run these funny little plays for Hardman? Although that's what nearly cost them the game last week, was that play they ran at the goal line with Hardman for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And I wonder if they would be willing to do that again. But like you said, I don't know
he's going to. He's going to run the exact same play.
Yeah, you know what? And I think that's what you sort of bet on. Like they sort of just do the same things. So you have to pick between one of those three receivers. MVS and Hardman will be significantly lower owned than Watson. I'm happy to take shots on those guys, I guess would be the way I look at it. Baltimore is a team that I know really well, and it's always hard to know what's going to happen at running back from week to week. Also, the emergence of Dalvin Cook actually playing significant snaps for them last week is a whole new wrinkle. So I would probably just focus on the passing game, which really just means the running game with Lamar. I wouldn't count on what happened last week where they only throw the ball for 100 yards. The Texans, especially once they lost that linebacker, they were literally begging. They were basically asking Lamar to run it on them. I mean, they had no other. It was the whole field was wide open every time, and that's just what's going to happen. So I think this game will be more of a traditional passing thing for them. I think Zay Flowers is my favorite. I like Aguilar number 2, Beckham number 3, and Bateman number 4.
What about Mark Andrews? He played or no?
And if Andrews plays, I do like Mark Andrews because people will, but I don't like him as much as the other tight ends, like, to be honest. And neither will anyone else. He's going to be the low-owned option. Maybe you pair him with a Kelsey or a Laporta or a Kittle, but all of these tight ends are awesome. So I really don't think I'm going to prioritize Andrews outside of Lamar stacks.
I think that Baltimore, again, they're also a team that I know that they can fling around a little bit, but I still think that they love to get that running game going.
They do.
And I'm looking at the context of the slate here. I'm like, McCaffrey's going to be 100% owned, whatever. But like the other running back position, like Pacheco and one of the Detroit guys are going to make a lot of sense. And dude, you can get, at semi-low, or you can get 2 touchdowns out of like Gus Edwards sometimes. You could get 2 touchdowns out of maybe not Justice Hill, but maybe, like if you just remember, this is a 2-game slate. This is a glorified showdown slate, and you have to do something. I think that shuffling those running backs to your lineups is not a bad idea.
I agree with you. My something is going to be fading McCaffrey mostly. I'm not going to do it entirely, but that's going to be my something, which is a dumb thing to do. Like, I mean, not dumb. It's dumb, like based on logic, we'll get into that game. But so here's my, I guess I'll just start off with this real quick, because of all the things, nobody has a worse matchup in the entire game. The Lions are the best team against the run in all of football. I still expect McCaffrey to have a good game. I still expect him to pound it. I expect him to catch the ball out of the backfield. I expect McCaffrey to have a good game here. I don't necessarily buy that that's how they're going to do their thing, and it's really going to come down to whether or not Debo plays. And it's looking more and more like he's not going to, but it's still totally up in the air. If Debo plays, I'm going to probably play a ton of Debo and Ayuk, and probably try to fade McCaffrey as a strategy to try to get different. Because what do you think, Sheets? You think McCaffrey ends up like 75% owned, 80% owned, probably?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's just one basic thing to do to get different. And on the other side, I happen to very much like Jahmyr Gibbs and Pacheco. It allows you to spend up and do some funny different things with your lineup. So I am going to mess around with some fading McCaffrey. It's probably the wrong thing to do, but I'm trying to find a way to get different. And to me, that was the first one that made some sense. Best run defense in football. You can throw the ball all over the Lions as much as you want. So I'm probably going to have some Purdy stacks, but more than Purdy, it's going to be Ayuk +1, whether that's Jennings or Samuel or Kittle. All three of those guys I'll be way overweight on, and I'm basically going to be overweight everything in this game except for McCaffrey.
Yeah, I mean, I like Juwan Jennings, among other things. I'm just trying to find something. Well, Juwan Jennings is not going to be particularly low owned if
Debo's out.
If Sam Debo's out. Debo is in though. Maybe you could play Juwan Jennings or something.
No one will play him, and I mean, it's your call, man. Like, he's 4,600. Like, Juwan Jennings is at 4,600 is pretty rough.
It's pretty thin, but he catch touchdown. I mean, like,
yeah, but even one touchdown, he probably needs he needs one touchdown probably in like 7 catches, because all the Baltimore guys are priced like this. Like,
I guess so.
And all the Chiefs guys are cheaper. And then one of Jameson or Khalif Raymond, or I'm sorry, one of Jameson or Josh Reynolds will probably get there. Yeah.
Well, these are all those. Well, the Detroit guys are obviously the best plays because they're going to be probably throwing the ball. You know what I mean? Like, whether it be because it's close or because it's not. You know what I mean? They're going to be throwing the ball. And these guys are pretty cheap. St. Brown is a good play because he just always is, whatever. But he's like fairly priced for a playoff slate. These other guys like Williams and freaking Reynolds, I mean, they look for him, Reynolds, you know, and even Laporte at 5,400. Maybe he's a little bit healthier now. I'm not sure. So yeah, I think all these Detroit guys make sense, and I think that. I think Montgomery runs more of a risk of getting scripted out, right, than Gibbs.
Yeah.
So I guess Gibbs would be my favorite. This is, what you could do. You could do that thing that you and Rody like to do. You make the game script. You know what I mean? Like, you play.
Yeah.
You play Gibbs with like, I don't know, with like McCaffrey or something like that. I don't know.
Gibbs, I think it'd be more like Gibbs with Ayuk and the passing game, not Ayuk or something.
Well, before I forget, I mean, again, I keep forgetting this is a 2-game slate.
Let me just say one thing. Josh Reynolds is not going to explode. I'm completely tilted by his fortune. Okay. And I was like, literally, I was the one who was like on this thing way before anybody, because I know Josh Reynolds and Jared Goff, since they were both Rams. And he was like my showdown sleeper all the time as their 4th receiver. There is absolutely, like, he had 3 targets last week. Okay. I don't agree that they look for him. I think he's a last resort most of the time on those plays. He is a big receiver. The actual better, I think Jameson Williams is a significantly better play for a lot of reasons, because they're going to specifically design plays for him. And he's been on the wrong side of variance for most of the season. I really like Jameson Williams this week ahead of Josh Reynolds personally. That's just me. I just want to throw that out there.
Would you put any again, in the showdown slate, this guy would show up, but what about guys like Elijah Mitchell from San Francisco? I've been the one that's always been saying, listen, this is the playoffs, you don't screw around. But each time I say that, you see Tampa Bay like giving like Chase Edmonds all this run. You know what I mean? Like, so is it possible that, well, what is Mitchell's price?
How are you going to play Elijah Mitchell over Justice Hill, same price basically?
Right.
That's the problem I have. I love Eli Mitchell. I think he's a really good running back. I can't get behind it for a playoff setting, especially because for whatever reason, Shanahan seems to have some extra love for, like, I don't know. I feel like he's trying to make McCaffrey look good all the time. I mean, the fact that Eli Mitchell had 0 touches in the entire game last week,
Yeah.
I don't think we can really consider it. Maybe for showdown.
I think you're right. I'm just throwing up other just kind of semi-random guys that I would play in showdown. Like back from the Kansas City, like Noah Gray.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy I played before. What about even if what's his name is back? Even if Andrews is back to play Isaiah Likely.
That's a good showdown one.
Yeah, but it's almost a showdown anyway because it's 2 games.
Yeah.
See what we're bringing up.
Well, I don't think you can play him on 2 games. This is a loaded tight end. I think you're double tight ending almost all your lineups. If it's me, that's the way I'm going to build.
Kittle, Kelsey, and stuff, or Andrews.
Kittle, Kelsey, Laporta.
That's right. Jesus, that's right.
It's a loaded tight end slate. I really like it. I like the tight ends better than I like the receivers this week. Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward. Like in that you're obviously if Debo's out, Ayuk will be the highest owned receiver. I still am going to say that Amon-Ra is the best play at receiver, and I think Ayuk would be right there, like as next. And I think I would want a double tight end in almost all my lineups. I really like the tight ends this week. And the running back, it's probably not the right idea because his floor is so high, but I'm going to give the McCaffrey fade a little bit of a shot and see what I can build around that. What do you think?
So listen, I'm going to be around. What's the schedule? 3:00 the first game.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe 1 Eastern on Sunday.
That sounds good. I'm down for that.
All right, perfect. Yeah, I'll be around for that. Still trying to get over my basketball losses for tonight, so hopefully I'll recover by this weekend and enough to win the weekend slate or whatever. Yeah, but it should be a fun one, guys, and we'll be live at 1 Eastern. It sounds like on Sunday.
Sounds good to me.
All right, good luck, everybody, and good luck in your